Welcome back to Mad Props, episode 44 of Mad Props. I know it's been a little bit. It's definitely been a while since we've had a guest on Mad Props, but we are officially back with our first guest of 2023. We are here. It is happening. Sorry for the delay. Sorry for the wait. Sorry for all that stuff. It's been a little bit. We've been moved across the country. I've changed jobs, changed states, all this stuff. We don't have to worry about that, though. We have a bunch of podcasts that have come out you can listen to. Some of those where you can hear where I've been and stuff like that. Some of those podcasts, like Sketching Up, the Offstage podcast that started this year, you can catch on the Schnabel Studios pages. Schnabel Studios is SCHNABEL Studios. You can see us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. If you're watching this right now on YouTube, you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Search Schnabel Studios and look for Mad Props, Sketching Up, Offstage, all of our stuff. It's right there. You can find it there. Go check it out. For this episode right now of Mad Props, we have Jason Paige. He is the original singer of the Pokémon theme song. He was also a backup singer for Michael Jackson. He's done more than 100. He's done hundreds of jingles from Coca-Cola to Subway, all that stuff. He's done so much in his career. He's coming on. He's coming to talk to us. It's a really good episode. Honestly, if you want to hear about the Pokemon stuff, you may have to go to another episode. You can skip to the end. We have a couple Pokemon questions at the end, but really for most of this podcast, we are just talking about all different stuff. We're kind of really learning who Jason is. So this is a great podcast. If you want to learn who this man is, if you want to learn who Jason Paige is, this is the one to listen to. So thank you for joining us. Welcome back to us. Welcome back to you. Episode 44, Mad Props, is coming up right after this.
Hi, I'm Jason Paige. Let's start the show.
We are back, Mad Props. We have Jason Paige. He's here with us. Musician, writer, creator, TikTok star I see now. When I was first when I was first in talks with having you on, it was like 7,000 or something like that. It's like almost 100,000 now. It really blew up in the last 2 months. It's crazy to see how much how quick TikTok goes. I do social media for a team here. When I started with the team, we had about 3,000. Now we're almost at 10,000. And we did that in the same thing about a couple months. It's just crazy how fast things pick up on TikTok.
Yeah. And how fast they go down on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
The subscribers count stays up, but the views just drop. Crazy. Where did all the subscribers go? They subscribe and then they don't get the messages. It's a different algorithm. The algorithms work differently on the different platforms. It's interesting to see how it works on TikTok. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we had this one video I put up, the most viewed video I put up there. It's got a couple tens of thousands, not anything too crazy, but it's a video. It's a really bad quality video. It was with the dumb ways to die thing when that was a big trend, and
right.
It got 15,000 views. You can barely see what's going on. I was like, why is this so popular? And then the other stuff gets nothing. I never understood it, but I try to figure it out every day. It feels like it changes every day. TikTok is
it does. People change every day. What they expect changes every day. And then they're programming the algorithms differently every day. And then they're putting new interfaces in for advertisers and for creators, and they're bridging all those people together. And they're changing their profit model based on what is working differently. The lives are blowing up sometimes, and then they're not blowing up the next day. It's crazy.
Yeah. I didn't even know TikTok Live was a thing until another guest we've had on a while ago. Actually, I'm wearing his hat. Ryukar came on. He's a video game streamer, and he said, yeah, I do live streams on TikTok and Reddit. I'm like, you can live stream on TikTok and Reddit? I didn't even know you could do either of those, but he does them all the time. It's crazy the things you could do on these sites. And again, you said the algorithm, it's just nuts. I have a love-hate relationship with TikTok, because when it goes off, you're like, oh, this is awesome. Something I created is blowing up. This is amazing. And then when it doesn't, you're like, this was really cool, guys. Why aren't you paying attention to this? And then you realized you posted it 15 minutes after your window of popularity or when all the people are on. Social media is fun.
Or because of the TikTok news recently that people are like, listen, I'm not going to invest as much in TikTok if they're going to ban it. I
Yeah.
can't fight for my TikTok followers. I'm just going to jump back to Instagram. That's kind of when I blew up on Instagram, it was right as TikTok got threatened and everybody was like, uh-oh, what's going to happen to TikTok? Well, who knows? Everybody's going to Instagram and TikTok just stopped.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
What-
It is very interesting how the whole thing works and the different monetization models, and the different threats that it poses to society, and the threats that it poses to government, actually, which I think is more relevant. That's what this whole thing is about. It's not a TikTok ban TikTok bill. It's a ban everything bill.
Yeah. I did a speaking event. If anyone out there is wondering, like, what's the best one to go to, Instagram's great. I did a speaking event for an elementary school with my job. And the big one with all the kids is YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts. I knew about it. We used to post, like, when we do a TikTok or something or a reel, we throw it on there. That's the one they all use, is YouTube Shorts. I never would have guessed. It's the oldest one out there. It's the oldest social media that's still relevant. And that's what all the kids are using, is YouTube Shorts, not anything else, after everyone's switching off of TikTok. So maybe that's something you would like to know too. Like I'm on the
YouTube. I'm on the YouTube Shorts as well. And I haven't been able to get the traction. YouTube, I joined in 2004 or 5, before they were bought by Google. Was one of the first platforms that was doing. Actually, there was one before called Rever. At the end of Rever, you could click the ad, and it would give give you 25 cents to every time somebody clicked the ads. And somebody went on there. One of my friends went on and clicked the ad like 500 times, and they shut me down. They shut down my channel. But yeah, I've been on YouTube forever. 74,000 followers now. In 20 years, it took me to get that. And I've been trying every technique possible to try to build that following. And I think I'm actually shadow banned on YouTube because I put out a Ron Paul Pokemon themed video in 2012, and it went to 250,000 views. It was the first video I ever had that went viral. And then it stopped. And then Ron Paul's channels got deleted. And Ron Paul didn't stop. His followers were still out there. They were still selling out, huge arenas. But my video stopped at like 250, and there's been trickling since then. It's no longer a public video, because I thought maybe that's why, because they don't want my crazy content out there, any political content. So I've unlisted or privatized it to see if my YouTube channel grows, and it's still not growing. No matter what I do, no matter, I've got this Pokemon themed video with 12 million views on it since 2016. I went from like 2,000 to like 8 to 10,000, and so it just doesn't. The biggest thing that has helped my YouTube channel was Jonathan Young's Pokemon theme remix, and he's got more views on his than I do on mine.
Yeah, and it's because at some point in that video they probably said, like, it had like the flag or something, go see the original, and that brings everybody over to you. And then people are, YouTube's a tough one. I mean, I watched this video on Mr. Beast, which most people know he's like huge on there. It took him years. I think they said it was like 10 years. He studied YouTube to figure out what is down to the thumbnail, like how to put the thumbnail, where to put the picture, like the picture of him, what to put in the background, how to make it sound like not clickbaity, but enough to where people are actually going to go on it, like all this stuff. And YouTube has just changed so much. I also remember when YouTube was really first starting up. First of all, there was no ads. There was, it was just people doing random things. Like, what was it? The evolution of dance was really big, and the
Smosh video was the biggest video on YouTube for the first few years.
Yeah,
before evolution of dance, Smosh doing the Pokemon theme song. They did the first Pokemon theme song video, and that's why YouTube was huge. It got sold to Google because of Pokemon.
Yeah, and then they put the ads on it, and they monitor everything, and everything's like, if you want to monetize it, you have to watch what you say. Actually, that's why a lot of the creators do like the curiosity stream and stuff like that now, because they're just tired of getting their stuff taken down. I'm a huge YouTube like those journals, so like history journals and stuff. I'm a party guy. I listen to history journals on YouTube in my free time. But a lot of those guys in the Curiosity stream, because they'll talk about like some war in Spain or something like that, and YouTube will take it down because it's too violent. It's like, it's about a war in Spain. What do you expect?
Come on. Yeah, it's history.
It's
crazy. It's public history. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so that's the thing with YouTube. I do a lot with YouTube, but not as much. I like Instagram a lot. I liked Twitter a lot, but Twitter's, you got your back and forth now with the people that are on there, the people that are going off there. So it's like, it's hard to really, you want to update it, but it's hard to try to build yourself on it because people are like, half the people are leaving, half the people are staying. So you want to go where the biggest target audience is going to be. So I think Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that are the best ones to go to. But
yeah, well, there's new platforms that are coming out, and I think we're going to have a little bit of it's going to be hard, but we're going to get into the metaverse at some point. Yeah. And the multiple metaverses, when you're going to have the same kind of thing where the most people are, and it's going to be where people can be the most freely expressed, basically. And I think that's what's happening with TikTok, is that you've got people really able to express themselves because of the tools of TikTok, because they make it easy to edit and do cool stuff on there, and easy to upload, and the algorithm shows it to the most people. But the censorship is gonna just spawn a whole bunch of new platforms that are very exciting and based on decentralization, so that they can't really be censored. Totally immune censorship. I heard about a thing called Quartal, QORTAL, which is a decentralized sort of platform that is censorship immune. And when people's channels get taken down for talking about the Spanish American War, you got to go to these
that's where they're going
to learn about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's another one like that's trying to take over Twitter called Blue Sky. It's like they didn't even try to say they're not Twitter. It's called Blue Sky. It's like a picture of blue picture. It's almost the same thing. It looks exactly like it. And their big thing is they don't censor, they don't do any of that, but it's also like invite only. So you have to be invited by another Blue Sky member. I don't know if that really took off. I know it was starting to take off when everyone lost their blue check mark thing was happening.
Right.
It started to take off. What's funny about the blue check mark thing is Instagram, the metaverse, Instagram and Facebook did the same thing at the same time. If you pay $15, if you have the Meta Business thing, you can also get the blue check mark, but they didn't take away other people's, and they didn't like publicize it like they did on Twitter, and it got like no backlash, but they did the same thing at the same time.
And I thought, oh my God, they're finally verifying me. I've been waiting years, and I submitted 7-8 times to get verified, and I've always been rejected. And I'm like, what's going on? And then when this whole shift happened, then they were like, hey, you guys want to be verified? I was like, yeah, I've been trying to get verified for years. They're like, $15, let's do it. And there it was. So now I'm verified, which is good, because now I have fake accounts claiming to be me. And the only way that I can defend against a fake account claiming to be me is by having a verified check mark.
Yeah,
which is
that was
really
the whole point.
crazy.
That was the whole point of the verified check mark was literally to differentiate those kind of things. The day we lost our blue check mark for the team I work for, there were fake accounts that popped up the same day that we lost it. And it's like, this was the whole point. Like, they could have done their subscription and had a different type of thing, but still had these it's a whole thing. And it's not worth getting into over Twitter, because it's been talked about for months now. You can listen anywhere and hear about Twitter. But that was the whole thing, was to differentiate. And Instagram's crazy. I try to get these professional athletes on constantly, like the young guys, the 20-year-olds that are just starting or something like that, and they get denied constantly from Instagram. And it's like, these guys are professional athletes. Like, what are we doing? You're a professional singer. Like, why are you getting denied? Like, there is a reason that you should be on there. There's you have the credentials to get on there. It's just crazy. Their stuff. But yeah, that was the whole point of it. So it makes no sense that they took it away. But anyway, in case you guys wanted to listen to a half hour on social media and stuff
it's
like
important.
that.
We need to know where this is going. Our lives are very, very entangled with social media right now. I mean, all of our businesses, even there's very few people that are immune to the social media algorithms and how they work and how it affects our lives. Even if you're somebody that's off social media, everybody around you is on social media, so you're still moved by the messaging that people are getting, by the income that they're able to make or not make because of social media, the workplace, the market, the economy. There's so many things that are inherently entwined with this now. So, you know, even if you're off grid somewhere, like, you learned how to get off grid because you watched all those fucking videos on TikTok about the dude that's off grid. And now if you can't find the off grid guy on TikTok because they censored him because he should talk about the Spanish-American War, how are you going to figure out how to get your tomatoes growing with the crazy water system that is just a whole bunch of coils wrapped around, stuck in the ground that make the tomatoes grow twice the size? You know, I mean, these crazy things we learn on social media, and we would transfer them person to person as well. You know, my roommate was just saying, he was like, yo, I'm getting these crows to come back, and these crows are eating these treats I'm giving, and now they're bringing me things. And like, he was telling me a thing that I already saw on social media that he wasn't telling me he saw on social media, but now we got crows coming outside of our apartment here, and the crows are bringing gifts. And it was a thing that just was I think it was a YouTube short actually that I saw it on. You can barter with crows. Don't give them the food, and they keep bringing stuff back. And when they bring back the thing that you want, like a dollar bill, then you give them the food. And now the crows are out there looking for dollars that people dropped on the street, and they'll bring the dollars back for the food that you're giving them. Anyway, it's a social media thing that he's relaying to me, and I saw it on social media, like, you know. So this conversation is important, even though it doesn't get into my credits. Except for that I'm a TikTok star, but I'm a bigger Instagram star now because I broke the 100,000 on Instagram, and the views are continuing. I'm still getting the views. Whereas TikTok, I met 98, 97, something like that, but I'm not getting any views anymore. The same videos. Anyway, we can move off of social media.
Well, when you said the crow,
just zoom us directly, because this is social media, but in our control, in our hands. No, only person that could get involved is Spectrum and say, I don't like that hat. Spectrum doesn't allow us to interact on the internet with these hats on because they violate some copyright or something. So we have to get on the MeshNet, which is the next level of decentralized internet that you can have without having to rely on Spectrum or Time Warner or your cable, because everybody will have the MeshNet and the entirety of what they need be broadcast between these nodes. But that's about 5 to 10 years when they really squeeze us.
I was gonna say, I've never heard of the MeshNet. Like, this was that you just had me locked in. I had never heard of that before.
It's the same way that you know, you can look on your phone and see how many wireless things that you can see in your area. There's like 35 different people broadcasting wireless signals right here for their houses or their whatever. Some of those people will be nodes of the internet, kind of like cryptocurrency is, where there's like the Bitcoin blockchain is all on this one guy's node. It's on all the nodes. So if you try to shut down Bitcoin, you can't, because it pops up on another node. And the mesh network is kind of like the internet version of that, where, you know, you have a node that has however much your computer can handle. But let's just say you got a computer with 100 terabytes. That's like, you know, whatever, however big that is. Or you can hold a substantial amount of the internet on there, or a substantial amount of what you need. The chordal pathway holds apps on it. So your social media app, it like condenses it so that you're just broadcasting the internet from your house, and it's getting uploaded and changed, and everything is on the decentralized internet. Anyway, it's coming. It's coming.
Where are we going to be in 10 years, right? It's just crazy to think about 10 years.
It's crazy.
10 years ago, 10 years from now. It's nuts to think about where we're going to be.
I just found a box of high 8 tapes from 30 years ago. And I found a camera at the thrift store for $25. And I've been importing these high 8 experiences. And it is what's going on in the video isn't really as relevant as the surroundings of the video, and like, you know, somebody on the phone and having to pass the phone to somebody, and you know, writing down messages, and you're just seeing this time capsule of how we used to live. That is so interesting. And all the cars were squares, boxy cars. There were no like sporty looking cars. It was just so bizarre that we lived in this world without all of these conveniences and without all of this, you know, digital technology. So, and that was 30, it was 30 years ago, but it's changed so much just in the past 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how fast things change and how much things change, and how 30 years ago you're talking about that. It seems like things like social media have been around for 50 years, how in it we are, you know, but it's only been around for like maybe 15 to 20 at the most, you know, like YouTube's been around for about 20, but like the real, like the MySpace era, going into the Facebook era, going to the Instagram, that's really not that old. It's really not.
It really isn't.
And it's so crazy to think about. But social media. There you go. 20 minutes on social media, just like you thought was going to happen when you got on here. But I talked about my team a little bit. I'm based out of Hartford, Connecticut, and you've done some writing for musicals in Hartford, Connecticut. We talked a little bit off air about it. Wanted you to talk a little bit on air about it. You did 2 musicals for the Hartford's Bushnell Theater, which if you ever in Hartford, it's a beautiful theater. I told you off air, I saw Tootsie there recently. It was amazing. The theater is very nice. It's easy in and out. It's right in downtown. There's a lot to do around it. So can you tell us a little bit about that, your experience in Hartford?
It was for Hartford Academy of the Arts, and I was brought in to write a musical based on the life of Harriet Beecher Stowe, who is a resident of Hartford, and the Stowe Historical House is there to preserve her memory and her work. She was the first abolitionist writer. She wrote stories about modern day slavery in her day. And the school had to read the book anyway. It's like a required reading for high school. So they got the books, and then we turned the book with the class into a musical. That was incredible. And the kids went out and learned about modern slavery as well as the slavery in her time, and joined these anti-slavery associations, and found out that there was more slavery now in our modern world than there even was back then. And that the ultimate story that was being told about slavery that we commonly think is not really accurate. So those discoveries were put into the show. The first scene was them, we're gonna take you back, and they're going back to where they got the slaves, and the white men would come to the African tribes and buy from the African tribes the slaves that the African tribes had captured to sell. So they're capturing their own people, and that, like, one fact was really missing in the modern, you know, depiction of slavery. It's like, we went and we captured them and we brought them back. They were already capturing each other, and it was a warring societies that had already, you know, that was part of their reality. They just sold the white ships because white people couldn't even really go on the mainland. They would just wait in the boats for them to bring the slaves out that they had already captured and had captivated. So it was very interesting to see the kids learn and bring all this information, and it exposed me to things that I didn't know. And then me to help them craft this musical, basically write the music for it and musically direct it, and get the kids to input lyrics. And we did it the first year, and it was an incredible experience. We did it the second year, then we resurrected it, and it was fabulous. And the Bushnell did it in their space, and we did it a couple of other Stowe events. And then we actually made a cast recording at the school, because they've got really great audiovisual situation there, good studios. And then the next year, we took another subject. Another guy named Henry Box Brown was this dude who mailed himself from the slave-owning South to the free North in a box that he was in for like days. Like he just packed himself in a box and mailed himself to freedom, popped out of this box. And, we wrote a musical about that the third year that I was working there. But it was a great experience, one of the best experiences of my life. You don't know what you know until you transfer it to other people. So I was able to learn about myself as a musician, as a teacher, as a guide, as a leader, as a piano player, an accompanist, a composer, by helping them compose and helping them find the meaning, the greater meaning, and the points they wanted to accentuate in this classic book that's really important to understanding how our world still works today. So it was great. And the Hartford communities really got behind it. And that's why it was at the Bushnell. And it was a sold out experience, sold out, although not many tickets were bought because it was schools that would get free tickets to come to it. But it was a packed house for almost the entire run, both years. So we have looked into, and I've captured many videos of it as well that are on some of these videotapes that I'm about to import. I think there might be one video online about it, one video on a YouTube channel somewhere. But we the kids in the school wrote the show, so the school actually owns the rights to it. So there was it's something that all schools should be doing, this particular musical, and a great way to teach kids about to get them to read these very important novels, very important books, by attaching a musical to it. So you're not just reading. I mean, I learned more about Christianity from Jesus Christ Superstar and Godspell than I ever did from the Bible. Musicals teach kids and teach the world about subjects, and this is a very important subject that kids and the world should know about. So maybe there'll be a revival of it at some point in another school, but these kids are all in their mid-30s at this point, so pretty cool.
I do agree with that. I just kind of recently got more into musical theater. I didn't really, growing up, didn't really go to it or anything, even though I lived in New York my whole life. I never really went to it or anything like that. And then I got more into it after I went to grad school. I went to grad school in Spokane, Washington. That's where I got into theater, if that makes sense. I lived in New York, didn't get into theater, moved across the country, and then I started getting into theater. And I do agree, like, it's just some of the stuff, it's so, not only the stuff you can learn from it, but like the expression that is given can show you how you can express yourself as well as a person, which is just such a nice thing for kids to learn, young adults to learn, is that expression through other people and stuff like that,
Yeah, and it really can exist outside of the city way more than it can exist inside of the city. I've been a New York resident for a while as well, and I was very disenchanted by the New York theater scene because it's so commercialized, because the rents are so high and the tickets got to be so much money that the producers, they're constantly bending and switching and pandering to their audience, and they're not really in the business of expressing and creating messaging that's important. If it's not selling, they're not doing it. So, some of these musicals are kind of interesting. The Hamilton musical, but they're twisting it a little bit to certain degrees. I mean, those were the guys that started the Federal Reserve. Those were the original money controllers. And they're presented as heroes in this musical that is very gender fluid and racially open. So they're just changing things around instead of giving you what actually went down and why it went down, because of the commercial application of it. They can't get up there and say these
just
guys
like a biopic.
Right.
Just like a biopic, you're not going to get the exact history of a person when you watch a biopic, because there has to be some sort of Hollywood entertainment to it to get it to theaters in the first place. I was gonna say, I do love Hamilton, and we had Julius Thomas III, who was the lead for the traveling after the original cast went off, and he kind of talked about that. Like, you have to have it Hollywood a little bit, you have to have it a little bit like Hollywood. That, or people won't come to it, because first of all, no one's going to come see a musical that isn't Hollywood up about the creation of the, creation of how money works. Like, they're not going to do that. What are you going to go watch a documentary, but they're singing? Like, you got to do something to change it up a little bit. So,
yeah, no, it's fully Hollywooded up. Leslie Odom is a friend of mine. I sang with him here in Los Angeles many times. He was in one of my musicals, our first iteration called both a Beatles gospel nativity, and we basically tell the nativity story with Beatles songs and gospel arrangements. And he was our Angel of the Lord character. Was really cool.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, Angel Gabriel. He was our Angel Gabriel, and he was in the Hamilton as well. But yeah, the Broadway is Hollywood, and then most of the musicals now on Broadway are movies that already have a commercial application for people. But yeah, they need to, and ultimately, it's a good thing that they Hollywood some of these stories, because it gets them out into the public consciousness. And now, kids will know about the creation of the Federal Reserve, maybe through, and then they'll veer off into the real documentary about what went down, and not just the Hollywood version. Kind of like Rent was the Hollywood version of the drag queen, and then it kind of opened people up to alternative lifestyles and the different things going on in New York City culture. Even though it was such a cartoonification of what was actually happening, it bared no resemblance to what was really going on in the clubs and in the East Village at the time. But it was a little, but it opened the door to people to see what that was.
What up, guys? We're taking a quick break from Mad Props because I want to tell you about Sketching Up. Sketching Up is a fandom podcast right here on the Schnabel Studios network. We talk about new releases, we do lists, we do drafts, and a lot of other fun stuff, all within the fandom universe. Just go on anywhere you get your podcast and look up Sketching Up, or go to Schnabel Studios anywhere you get your podcast, search it up, and look for Sketching Up in there. That's SCHNABEL Studios. Search that wherever you get your podcast, look for Sketching Up, and you'll be able to listen to that. Let's get back to Mad Props.
So we've had a lot of different in-depth conversations about things, different social media, all this stuff. You seem like you're a very spiritual person. Like you said on a previous interview that you, in your downtime, you try to get in touch with yourself because you were very anxious when you were younger, and you started writing journals and you got in touch with yourself. When did you start doing stuff like that? Do you still get anxious, going on stage, or before you have to write or perform in a studio or anything like that? And how do you get in touch with yourself? And when did that start?
Yeah. Well, my day starts out with a splash of water to the face. Actually, before I even get to the water, I make the bed. So I pop out of the bed and I fucking just straighten it up right away.
Something more people need to do, by the way.
It just
no one does it.
Mental thing. Yeah, nobody does it, and it's just like, oh, I just left that area better than when I was there. It's now orderly, and before it was all messed up and ruffled. So I'm already leaving a better trail in my wake, right as I get out of bed. That's the first thing. Then I connect with the most important element of our human existence, water, which we are made of. And
literally.
I connect with the water that I'm connecting with is mountain spring water that I collected on my own in the Azusa Mountains up in not too far from the Los Angeles area. I'll show you. Fucking collect that shit. Once a month, I go and I get these bottles and I put them in there, and I just have a filter that goes into the bottle. It basically just, and then I just boom. First thing that happens in the morning is this. Splash myself down with the spring water. The spring water that is the life, that is close, the best water that I could possibly find.
Do you cool it, and is it just for that, or do you drink it? Is it that's your water you use for everything?
It's the water I use for everything. It's a drinkable water. I wash with it oftentimes. I cook with it. It's the best water that I could find. And water is the most important thing to the human experience, as you are made of water. So I right away get that water on me, just like that.
Yeah.
And and then I go and I do a series of exercises called the Tibetan 5, which are 5 exercises that basically I've got to show you. I don't know if I can tell you about it.
That's great. We get to go on tours. This is great.
I basically, well, first thing I do is I either I play it on my little studio environment right here, quiet environment. I either play it on my phone if I'm not home, or I go to my looper, and I'm not going to loop because I said I'm not going to be singing today.
No, it's all good.
I have a recording of this that you can get on YouTube. Abundance, gratitude, health, love, abundance, and I just loop that until I got a nice. Actually, I actually had it going when we hooked up. When we first called, so it's still going.
Oh wow!
Basically, that goes on, and then I jump on the floor and I do the Tibetan 5. The first thing in Tibetan 5 is spinning around. You spin around the same way that water spins around, and it structures the water in your body to become more just accessible to your cells. And I just spin around. This is the first exercise in the Tibetan 5, spinning around. And if you notice, kids do a lot of spinning around. Dogs will run around chasing their tails, but they're not actually chasing their tails. They're spinning around to spin their water. When you get water that is not fresh from a mountain spring, you should spin it, because vortexing the water gives it the structure, gives it energy. It makes it do what it's supposed to do in your body. Cats, dogs, all things spin around. The cosmic energy of the universe is created by the vortex. And you can see that like a vortexing situation happens with water. When I get my water in this water is very newly captured by the mountains, from the mountain spring in Azusa, but I have but when it's not captured, I put it in a bottle, and it's got to be a round water bottle. And even do it with this water, because water needs to move, and it vortexes very easily. It's really cool vortex, and that charges the water up and gives it a greater structured water. I don't know if you've got familiar with the work of Emoto. You put the word hate on the side of the water bottle, or actually it's a rice experiment. It's a water experiment and a rice experiment. But if you put the word hate on the side of the water bottle and you freeze it, the ice crystals are all distorted and messed up. If you put the word love on it, the water crystals are perfect, like snowflakes. The same thing happens with rice. If you put rice in a jar, wet rice in a jar, the hated rice will mold and turn black. The loved rice will stay white. Water has memory. Our bodies have memory. So I, in the morning, get this memory going by splashing water, and then I do the Tibetan 5 to my meditation jam, which is spinning around. That's the first one. The second one is this, basically. Just kind of, you can't really see it. Hold up. And turn a little further down, right, like this. The second thing in the Tibetan 5 is just this exercise. Just go up and down. Your head and your feet go up. 3. Do that maybe 15 times. And then the third one is this, which is just head up, head down. Breathing in, breathing out. The fourth one is this. Breathing in, breathing out. And then the fifth one is kind of like yoga, downward dog, to this, breathing in, breathing out. And so a repetition of about 10 to 15 to 20 of those 5 different stretches is what happens before I even get to the phone to see what time it is or what I'm supposed to do that day. I try not to look at the phone until all of those things have happened. So that's basically my morning ritual to get sort of connected, to get sort of stabilized, to figure out what's going on. And I've posted some of that on my channels before, of me doing that. And I think it's a pretty important thing to sort of start your day with something that is connected, that is about you, that is about about the universe, about your your health, your body, and making your world a better place, making the world a better place. and that's pretty much what I've devised for myself. I hold a pretty strict organic diet, just basically following nature. Like if it's not supposed to be inside of my body, I don't really want to put it there. And that goes for most food and most liquids and most air that I'm breathing. But I can't really control the air.
Yeah.
But I can control the water and I can control the food. So I do my best to eat organically and drink the best water whenever I can. If I can't get the good water, I spin the water wherever I am to get it structured. And that's basically my spiritual morning practice. And then I think there are other elements that come in when there are stresses in terms of like shows or different obligations or things I need to meet. And I'll do some free writing exercises to sort of clear my consciousness if I'm stressed out about something, or I'm having some issues with somebody or something, but I've been pretty much thriving since I implemented the stretching in the morning and the abundance, gratitude, health and love jam that I do every day. I had some stuff going on before then. Pokémon basically resurged in 2016. And in 2020, I discovered the cards. But in 2021, I discovered the meditation and the daily practice. And from that point on, it's quadrupled my productivity. It's quadrupled my health. It's quadrupled my connectedness to things and my opportunities and the way that I see the world. I mean, things were pretty good before then, but this has really, really sort of directly made an impact in a very profound way.
Yeah, I completely feel that. I'm very big on, like, especially if you're feeling down, go into a mirror and tell yourself how great you are and how loved you are, because you have to hear it from yourself before you can even take it from other people. It's something I say all the time. I also understand like that. I get up and run every morning. I used to be very big. I used to be 400 pounds. I'm now 200 pounds. Yeah.
400.
Over 400 plus. And now I'm 215. And that's changed my entire life. Like, I just feel so much better, and running has become a part of that. So every morning I go for a run, and that's where I connect with myself. Sometimes I listen to stuff, sometimes I don't, but that's where I gain for my day. So much so when I don't run in the morning, and my girlfriend knows this, when I don't run in the morning, I'm like a grouch. Like, I'm grumpy because I didn't get that moment for myself. And I didn't get that moment to, exercising has become my meditation because it's completely changed my life. I like I said, was very big. It wasn't that long ago. I lost the weight starting in 2020, but I actually started in January of 2020. And then obviously when the pandemic hit, I was doing virtual work. So I had a lot of time and exercised a ton. I did about 5 to 6 workouts a day for, I would say, about a year and a half. I did about 5 to 6 workouts a day. Lost a lot of weight, feel amazing now, and it's become part of my routine. Every morning, wake up, drink a ton of water. I do the same thing: splash my face, drink water, get outside, go for a run.
Get in the sun.
Yep, get in the sun, get fresh air, especially, working. I one of the lucky things about my job is I do video work, I do social media work, so I am out on the field a lot. So I'm not like stuck in an office all day, which is just like
Right.
unbelievably nice. But the days you are in an office, you got to get outside, you got to work, you gotta
Yeah.
get some time for yourself. So like everything you were just saying, I'm so connected with because I'm in the same boat. Like I like to connect with myself. I don't do it as much. I want to do yoga, 15-minute yoga in the morning. The stretching of your body just makes you feel so much better. Like when you stretch out your body, when you treat your body right, you just the whole day is better. The whole day is nicer. Like
Yep. You gotta be the first one to love yourself, or else no
yeah.
one else will.
Yeah, and trying to find it before you could do it yourself. That's what people want to do. They try to find validation from other people before they take it from themselves, and they can't ever find it, or they never can accept it. I shouldn't say can't find it. They can't accept it because they don't believe it because they didn't hear from themselves first. It's something I say a ton. I say that all the time. You got to accept it from yourself if you're going to accept it from other people. So I'm right on board with you with all that, and I love to hear that. The body not so much body positivity, but treating your body right so it could treat you right. And the water thing is amazing. I would love to do something like that because
there's a website called findaspring.com that I found this spring on. There's multiple springs, and people are posting when they find a spring, they post it on there, and then there's one in your region. You can drive to it. It's a natural spot where the water is coming out from the primary water source untouched by man, and you can go and get it for free.
Yeah, I was about to ask, like, is there anything like that? The one thing I have a water filter for mine. When you drink it out of the tap, it's nasty. Like it just doesn't taste. It doesn't taste good. You have to have it filtered out. So something like that would be amazing. I only have a couple more questions for you. We haven't talked a lot of Pokemon, but there was one Pokemon question I wanted to ask. So I will. This is actually the only question I have on my entire list that has to do with it. But I did want to ask before we wrap up. So the Ash's Final Battle came out, and the U.S. had a re-recorded theme. I wanted to know how you felt about that. I saw your video, by the way, much better with the original theme. That's not just my opinion. I went and looked and saw the comments. It's much better with that theme. It really is. Actually, I saw your video posted by like a different account, like from, I think it was like your TikTok posted on Reels or something. It's so much better with the original. But what was your feeling when you saw that, when you heard that for the first time? Seeing that they changed it just in the US version as well.
This is a very important sort of thing that I've had to come to terms with. And it's a great thing. What's happened is people have their own experience of the Pokemon theme song independent of the person that's singing the song. At least they did with the original. If it was Michael Jackson up there going, I want to be the very best. Oh, no one ever was. It would be Michael Jackson singing it, and you'd have Michael in your mind. What is the celebrity is the song. So it's important for me to not be, it's important for people to experience the art, and the art is the song. And of course, I was a part of the main art. That song is just very poorly emulating. That remake is poorly emulating, but the essence of the song is still there, and it didn't scream Jason Paige. And when it screams Jason Paige, it takes away from the experience of the painting. A Monet or a Salvador Dali, you're not thinking about Salvador Dali standing there painting the painting. You're just looking at the painting going, whoa, look at this thing. You're experiencing the art. So that's what I want people to continue to experience, the art. And that will always bring more attention back to the original artist. Even if another artist does the song, which there are so many people covering the song, that one guy, that one heavy dude, we're getting ripped tonight.
Yeah,
and he walks around,
I was about to say.
The very best. And that guy's got 10 times more success in his social media career because of that than I do in mine for actually being the original guy. So there's a little bit of a, I have a little bit of not resentment, but like I'm trying to figure out the algorithms that are working for everybody else more than they're working for me, doing the exact same thing and being the guy. So, and if they're programmed against me, then they're programmed against me. But let everybody else go out there and blast the song out. Let it be 1,000 different versions of it. It's all going to point back to the OG at some point. And I'm made peace with watching so many other people achieve so much greater success than I have, because the success is not about the views. The success is about what it actually does in the world to move people, to change them, to inspire them, to help them grow, and to help them build their careers with a remake of it that does way better than my own personal remakes of it. You know, and it's the art, the things that you leave behind that are the most valuable to humanity, not who takes it and manipulates it for their own benefit. But let them take it. Let the secondary markets go to town, continue to go to town, because it all points back to the OG, even if all of the streaming platforms have eliminated my name as the artist. It doesn't matter. I've put myself out there, and Wikipedia, until they change that, which they can, there'll always be a reference. You contacted me because you found out it was me. If you went to iTunes and tried to download it, it wouldn't say my name there. If you went to Apple Music to download it, it wouldn't say my name there. If you go to Apple Music and download Jonathan Young's version, it'll say Jonathan Young's name. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is doing way better. So there is a slight bit of resentment. That's just a natural resentment because of my attachment to materialism. But I have to keep reminding myself that the art is what's most important. The impact on humanity is what's most important. And whenever somebody else's version is used, that's just more of my impact on humanity. It's a more of a confirmation of the success of the impact. When Pokemon takes my name off of the artist on YouTube, on my own YouTube video, it says artist Pokemon on my video, I just have to see that as a confirmation of the impact on the world. And if you frame it from the capitalist perspective, if your whole $100 billion empire was represented by this face, you would want to make sure that you could detach yourself from that face if this face ever, did something that you didn't approve of, or that your fan base didn't approve of, or your customers. You didn't intend for this face to be the face of your brand. Mm-hmm. So now the brand has many faces, and I'm just the original face. So I understand it from a capitalist perspective, from a business perspective, that they would want to disassociate that, because they didn't hire me, like they said, like I said, Michael Jackson. It would have destroyed it. It only worked because there was no face attached to the song. As people get older, now they want to know who's the guy who sang the song, because mm-hmm. it's such an important piece of musical history in their lives. And then they can look me up and find me. But they're not really doing that. In that last episode, they're experiencing the episode, hopefully, more than they're experiencing the artist drawing the episode, or the guy singing the song in the episode, or Veronica Taylor or Sarah Nattercheny doing the voice of Ash. You don't want to be thinking about a girl doing Ash's voice. It messes the whole thing up, which is, it's bizarre that's what it is. And if you were thinking about her the whole time, and now because I sit next to her at the events and watch her signing autographs, and I'm like, I can't watch Pokemon anymore because I keep thinking, oh, it's Sarah. I can't listen to this girl doing Ash's voice. It's too weird. But anyway, the point is, I felt those things, and I come to terms with them by thanking the universe for this art that has had such impact over people, that they are, that there's 1,000 remakes. I think they should have used the Jonathan Young version, personally. But they used this one that they used in the 20th anniversary movie that they did, by the way, ask me to sing. It was the only contact I've had since the 220 since 1998 with the Pokemon Corporation, and they asked me to sing that song in their movie, and my management advised against it because the contract was extremely restrictive and didn't pay the fee of my lawyer to negotiate the contract. So my lawyer to even look at it cost more money than they were actually offering. So it was advised against, against doing that. And the guy who sang it, that's now a thing that he has in his career that he has, that he can use for his growth and change and to infect and impact people. So, it's all good. It's all good. It seems weird at first, but it really is all good. And it's not all good. It's all great. It's all epic. It's all profoundly incredible in a way that no other song has ever been in the history of music, besides Happy Birthday and maybe Bohemian Rhapsody. But Bohemian Rhapsody doesn't have Comic-Cons that are centered around it, a TV show, multiple movies. They did have one movie, one Queen movie.
Yep.
But it wasn't one song. It was all of their stuff.
Yeah.
This song represents a $100 billion industry. Nothing like it has ever happened in the history of humanity. And I don't think there's not a close second even, musically. Business-wise, we do have Lego Mania, Lego Mania, Lego's got a lot that's new. All right, I'm not supposed to sing. But that's the new Lego Mania theme song that I actually wrote back in 1995, was used in all the Lego Mania commercials. And I've just done a remake of that song with a full rap section and a second verse and an outro chorus and a bridge. It's excellent. And Lego is a close competitor to Pokemon, maybe even surpass Pokemon in terms of, global reach. I don't think they're $100 billion. Well, maybe they are.
No, it's got to be close. I mean, they have movies, they have toys, they have a lot of stuff. So it's got to be close.
All the things. They have even more stuff than Pokemon, and they have Jason Paige singing their original song as well. But they just don't have a full version until I release this full version, and then Lego will be able to rise up past Pokemon. And many people will cover the song, and all the same stuff is going to happen, but just in the Lego universe.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a great way of looking at it. You almost look at it as like an actor that a movie would say a movie's remade and someone plays that part. Like they didn't ask somebody back for that part, and now somebody else is playing the part. You're moving on. You're moving someone forward, someone else's career. You're moving forward that topic, that item, that whatever it is, movie, song, show, brand, whatever, you're moving it forward still, even though somebody else is taking a part. And I think that's a really good way to look at that.
Yeah, even though the actor wasn't credited in the first movie, and they had to kind of look up on the internet to see who he was. They're still doing the scene that actor did. No. That's my resentment coming through. No, that's good. Like I said, the not being credited allows the kid to not be distracted by the artist doing the thing. And I allow the adults to look up online and see who I am.
Yeah. Well, you have the Ashes Goodbye, which is available. People can listen to that, goes off of the final Ashes match, final episode with him in it. We didn't even get to a lot of the stuff you've done, backup singer for Michael Jackson. You wrote a ton of jingles that people know, all this stuff, but it's stuff that's great. JasonPaige.com, or go follow him on Instagram, go follow him on TikTok, anywhere you can go follow him, and you can see this stuff as he releases it in different times. You put some old stuff up. You can get, get merch. You can get cards. JasonPaige.com. Look, he even signs it. He's going to do it right here, live on.
Live on. So you want me to write Schnabel?
You can. Yeah, you can.
Or the name of your podcast?
Write the name of the podcast. Mad Props. MADPROPS.
Bam.
Boom. Right there. You can get those online as well in his shop. You can catch him. I know you just did a European tour. Are you going anywhere in the U.S. coming up?
I've got a gig in Lompoc, California on the 10th and the 11th. I'm going to be close to you, dude. Mohegan Sun.
When is that?
E3 on the 11th of June. And then a couple of stores in the East Coast area. And then we're trying to figure out the other events and other dates for the summer and the fall. I'm doing all the Collecticons, but E3.
E3.
At Mohegan
Sun.
Right there, right up the street.
Boom.
Actually, I'm flying into Hartford.
Oh, really? So really down the street.
Yeah,
it's south. It's south.
there.
I know where Mohegan Sun is. We actually saw Adam Sandler there a little while ago. They do a lot of different comedians and stuff there, so I know exactly where that is. So check that out. Also, go to Jason Paige if you want to see where he's going in the U.S. as that comes out as well. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a blast.
Thank you, dude.
It's finally been another episode of Mad Props. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to follow us on Schnabel Studios, you can go on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, anywhere that you get social media. You can go on there and you can find us, SCHNABEL Studios. You can also search it on wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to all of the podcasts within the window of Schnabel Studios. Mad Props, Sketching Up, and Offstage Podcasts. You can listen to all that stuff. You can also actually listen to some of my old interviews all the way back when I first started in 2011, 2012 era. You can listen to every interview I've ever done on there as well. So if you like this interview, if you want to hear how I started out, you want to hear how it's built to this point, you can go listen to those on the Schnabel Studio stuff. So go listen to that stuff. Thank you for joining us here. We can't wait to join you. We have another episode coming up very shortly. Can't wait to see you again. This has been Mad Props. Thank you for joining.